What's up, guys? This is episode 42 of the MasterofOnePodcast, titled Bullet Addiction versus Harvest Moon. Two very opposite things. Bullet addiction is not very productive, where Harvest Moon is all about productivity. So to start it off, I've been playing a lot of Bullet recently. Very ironic that for like 2 weeks I couldn't play any chess. I was tired, and now I've been playing chess too much. Now the good news is, right after, like within a couple days of starting my bullet addiction, I got to 2,700. I would say within 1 to 2 days, which is pretty good. I mean, not bad. And then a week later, or I guess a week late, it took about a week from 2,700 to get to 2,800. 2,800 was actually reached about 30 minutes ago, and it does feel good in a sense. It's like, hey, I got 2,800, but the amount of time it took to get the better way to say it is the amount of games to get 2,800 was, I mean, honestly, not that bad, but you're playing like 100 games in a row, and you learn some things when you're playing that many games. One thing, openings don't really matter. Like, openings don't matter too much. Ironically, to get to 2,800, I played the Stonewall with white and the French with black. French and Stonewall Dutch. So I'm kind of doing the same thing again and again and again. You would think you get tired, but I guess the good news of playing this opening about 1 billion times is I know the positions really well. And this is something that I saw with Bullet. Like, I have my main account and my public account, and then the account I play all my main openings on. And ironically, on the account I actually play my real openings on, it's harder to get good bullet stats. But when I'm playing kind of like random, or when I'm playing the Stonewall and the openings that I've played 1,000 times that aren't actually good, it doesn't really matter in Bullet. What matters is I know the plans really well. I know where the pieces go really well. I know the type of tactics that happen. So even though the openings aren't that great, for Bullet, it's great. So I would really recommend, if you want to get, okay, first off, I would recommend not playing a lot of Bullet if that is your goal, or if you're trying to get better at chess. That is definitely not conducive to getting better at chess. But if you do want to get better at Bullet, play openings that you know, play openings that you've played 1,000 times. They don't have to be good. You just have to know them really well. And then you just got to get good. I'll even say I'm not that fast. Like, I still flag some ridiculous positions. But I think I'm fast enough where, like, I can let my chess speak for itself in a sense. And that is how I got to 2,800. Now, here, I'll go through some pros, and then I'll talk about some cons. So one of the greatest things that I've done recently, and something that I already kind of had in my head, or I've tried before, is for cardio. So right now I'm actually nursing a shoulder injury, and I'll get into that probably at the end, but I can't run right now. Like, running hurts my shoulder. That's how bad this shoulder injury is. So all I can really do to work out is to get on a station bike and bike. And the cheat code that I've learned is you get on the bike and then you start playing Bullet. And when I say like 30 minutes goes by like nothing, like you don't feel it at all. Like you start, like I get on the bike, start biking, and I put on a podcast and I play Bullet. 30 minutes, no problem. Around 40, 45 minutes, I would say my butt starts hurting. And that's when you have to, you can keep going. It's not really so much fatigue. Yeah, I would say there is some fatigue, but it's more like it just hurts sitting so long that I have to kind of stop. So real good cheat code to cardio. If you want to do cardio and you don't want to get bored. Like, that is one thing I think that happens when people do a lot of cardio. It's like, what do you do for 30 minutes? Or what do you do for 50 minutes? Or 45 minutes? And biking and Bullet go hand in hand. It's like, it's no problem whatsoever. Super, super easy. So that's been my cheat code. I've actually done the last 4, maybe 5 days, about an hour on the bike and just walking around, or not walking around, biking and doing Bullet. Time goes by super fast, and it's a really good way to work out. And I wouldn't say like the bullet skills like really drop. It's not like you're gonna play worse because you're biking. You pretty much play the same, if not better, because you're more focused. So that is a really good cheat code, and that'll probably be the only place I play bullet from now on. The amount of bullet I played, I don't think it's not even I don't think I know it's bad. It's kind of like taking Adderall. When you take Adderall, you stay awake for like 48 hours. You're not hungry, you're not tired, and you know it's cheating. That's the same thing with bullet. Like bullet, you played 100 games, you feel nothing. Like you're not tired. You're just going through the motions, and it's very similar. So that is one great thing to do if you're trying to get in shape and you like playing chess. Get on a bike and do bullet, and time flies. Now another pro is tactics. My tactical sense I think is really good. I do say I do a lot of mindless tactics where it's like you're just kind of going through the motions. You're not really deep calculating. Now I have been doing a lot of puzzles and Puzzle Storm and everything, so I think that is where I definitely see some payoff in the quick tactics that I've been doing, and I think they pay off in bullet. I've gotten faster. I would say between mouse and phone, I would say like you can be a bit faster using a mouse, but using your phone you can be fast enough too. It's really just the time scrambles where it kind of gets hard. Like time scrambles with the mouse are, I would say, a lot easier in my opinion. So another thing that I think is good with bullet is like just positional understanding. Seeing a weakness, getting that flow state play, like that's I think also a really good thing with playing a lot of bullet. And the bigger thing, and maybe the biggest thing, is just being resourceful. Like in bullet, you get a lot of crazy positions, a lot of bad positions, and you have a lot of like epic comebacks. Like these are the kind of comebacks you will never see in an actual chess game or an actual tournament game. Like down a queen and you end up winning by checkmate. Like that's what the kind of stuff you get with bullet, which I think is a huge allure to it and which makes it a lot of fun. Like you can get away with a lot. I'm playing like bogus openings, and I can get away with them a lot because your opponent doesn't have time to punish it. So just being resourceful and being a fighter. Now there are times where like you're playing like a 28, 2900. I haven't played any 3000s yet. I've definitely beaten a bunch of grandmasters and a bunch of 28, 2900s, but so far no 3000s that I've played. What was I saying? Being resourceful. Yeah, like you just find a way to survive, and you find a way to play. So that is a good thing. Now cons are time. Like you can start playing bullet at 3 p.m. and next thing you know it can be 5 p.m. Right? That happens no problem. Another thing is you're like, let me just squeeze in a game. Like I'm just gonna play one game, no problem. Next thing you know, you're on game 15 in a match. Like I actually played this match against some grandmaster. I don't know who. Ironically, or most of the grandmasters I play online don't have their names. There are a couple where they kind of say who they are, but for the most part, I have no idea which grandmasters I'm playing. But I played like this 50-60 game match with one of these GMs, and I think it went like he won like 40-30, but time like you start a match and next thing you know you're 15, 20, 30 games in, which I don't think is a very good thing. I mean, I guess the quality is pretty high. I'm playing, like I said, 28, 27, 2900s. So I am playing pretty good people, but this is not, you already know, like this is not good for tournament chess or if you want to actually get better. It's an ego thing. And it's a very like short-term dopamine spike that you get. And I definitely know a lot of people. I've actually had some students who are like, I have to stop playing bullet. It's an addiction. And this is my first. I would say this is my first time really getting into bullet. Of course, I've always played my whole life. But once I jumped from 26 to 2700, I was like, all right, I'm going to try to get 2800. And I was pretty serious about it. Now, I did kind of lose a lot of Saturday. I did get some productive things done too, but definitely lost a lot of time. And like I said, like time goes by so fast when you're playing bullet. So another con, I mean, it pretty much it's all the same thing. You're not playing proper chess. It's not healthy chess. And I mean, people who play bullet can attest to this. It really can become addiction. Like, there are times where I'm like, all right, this is the last game, and then I play another game. there are times where it's like I need to stop. I have to stop. Why am I still playing? And I still play. Like, it is literally all the telltale signs of an addiction. Now I would say it's more of a healthy one than other things, but for sure it can become an addiction. And let me tell you some of the lies that you tell yourself. You're like, first one, most famous one, is I'm just gonna play one more. The other one is I'm gonna get this rating and then I'm gonna stop. And then what happens is, like, so on my way to 2800, I would be like, all right, today I'm going to try to get to 2750. You get 2750, and then you're like, all right, let me just play one more. Then you lose 2, and you're like, well, now I have to get back to 2750. And now you're chasing this 2750, and then you get it. And then once again, you go back, and you're like, okay, well, and then you keep playing after you get 2750, then you drop, and now you're chasing it again. So these are things that happen when you're chasing the dragon, as they will say, of the bullet dragon. So, definitely, I mean, I guess not. I mean, now that I've hit 2800, I did play 2 games after. I drew one and I won the other, so I'm at 2807. But this should be a pretty hard stop, and I think the plan is only to play when I'm biking. And even then, blitz is better, but I'll probably mix in some bullet here and there, but very regimented. The proper way to do it, and it's great in theory, is you pick a number of games, you play that many games, and then you're done. It's kind of like if you go to Vegas, you set yourself a budget, you're like, all right, this is how much I'm going to spend. You cross that, and then you're done. No more. But self-control, it's a very hard thing to do. But luckily, unfortunately, I said it again, I hit my goal, so hopefully I can really get off the wagon of this very serious and very dangerous bullet addiction. So now the other thing I want to talk about, at least for the topics of the podcast, is harvest moon. Oh, man, I was looking this up, and then, so basically I think there's 4 major moon phases throughout the year. There's harvest moon was September 29th. Harvest moon, other moons. Okay, yeah, so there's harvest moon, sturgeon moon, hunter's moon, and beaver moon. Okay, this is what I was reading. So September 29th was a really cool day. I kind of went on the patio, looked at the moon, and like, I don't know if this is because I like wolves or whatever, but whenever I see a full moon, I feel like this is when I'm strongest. It's like whenever there's like big changes or like really big good changes happening in my life, a lot of times like it'll be during the full moon, like superstitious or whatever, but I feel like that is when my powers are the strongest. And September 29th was the harvest moon. I didn't know that until I looked it up after, because I wanted to know what the September 30th moon was. Man, what are the full moons throughout the year? Okay, got you. But basically, the harvest moon was September 29th, and that was when I was like finishing a lot of things. That was when, I mean, I'm doing this podcast. I think I'm just gonna give up. This guy's being ridiculous. All right, so yeah, back to harvest moon. So September 29th and then the 30th, like I've finished a lot of things from the summer, kind of closed a lot of chapters. What was it? On top of that, I'm losing my words. I finished an anime, Kengan Ashura. Really, really good anime. 100% I would recommend. It's super good. Okay, so basically Kengan Ashura is a 32-man martial arts tournament. And all these guys, like, they actually do martial arts. Like, I think it was written by 2 guys who are actual fighters. So they're doing jiu-jitsu, they're doing Muay Thai, they're doing Lithway, like even the obscure martial arts, which I thought was really cool. And I got into it through Netflix, and then I ended up reading the rest. So this is why I don't get into TV shows, because once I start, like, I'm going to finish. Whatever, like, if there is any season, like if the show's still going, I'm going to finish the TV show. Another TV show I finished recently, or like season I finished, was Criminal Minds Evolution. This was also another great show. I actually watched half of the new season on the plane back from Italy, and then I learned through one of my friends that the new episodes are out, and then I binged that actually last night, like 5 episodes. So once I start something, this is why I'm very selective of the TV shows I watch. It's going to be finished. I'm going to watch everything. So Kengan and Shora, the first 2 seasons are out. It dropped. I finished the season in one day. And then I was like, there's still a lot more. And the great thing about anime is if the TV, like what is it? So the great thing about every anime is there's a manga. And if the anime isn't caught up, the manga is generally finished. So after finishing watching the anime, I read all the manga. And the way to remember which one's anime and which one's manga is anime is like animation. So that's the TV one. And then once you get that, the other one is just 50-50. So I ended up reading that. What else can I do? I finished, like, I would say, getting rid of a lot of vices. Like, definitely a lot of vices. I kind of closed the chapter on this past weekend too. So timing, I think, is always interesting. I really don't believe in coincidences. So that is why Harvest Moon is another big part of this this podcast. And then the last thing that I will say is, like, okay, I actually started reading the Bible again. So I finished reading the Bible about, I don't even know, I think before the summer. And then about 3-4 weeks, I guess, about 2 weeks ago, I started reading it again. And the chapter today was Matthew 13, and it's all about the harvest and sowing seeds and the mustard seed. And I thought that was like once again, I don't believe in coincidences, and I thought that was pretty crazy that, like, all of it kind of connected and came together. And the last thing about Harvest Moon, I swear, is it basically signifies the beginning of fall, and you can actually feel it in the air. Like, I think I went outside yesterday, and I was like, wow, it's actually cool outside. Like, I'm sure there's gonna be some hot days. It's Atlanta, and it never 100% shifts over, but it's the first time you could feel the coolness in the air, and that was, I think, another great way to signify that a chapter has ended and a new one has begun. And I think this is something I wrote today, but, like, every ending is a new beginning. It's like when you go through a door, you exit one place and you enter another place. Like, you don't have a choice. Like, that's just how it works. Once you go from one to the other, one place ends and the new one begins. So one cool thing about, like, when things end, that means something else is beginning. And I'm kind of excited for it. Definitely a lot of new things going to happen. I'm going to go ahead and go into the next part of the podcast and go through the event. So speaking of a lot of things ending and new things beginning, the event schedule for EAC is officially ready, confirmed, and set. I will be sending an email out. Actually, probably if you're watching this from the email, it's already been sent out. But basically, the event schedule for the fall is October 28th. We're doing our EAC Halloween Championship 6, so our 6th event. This one, we're going to make it Halloween themed, which I think is really, really cool. I always like dressing up. It's just something that I find very fun. So we're going to do a best costume prize and a first place and second place. So hopefully people bring some really cool costumes, and we have a lot of fun with it. Now, one thing that I think we're going to really try to focus on for this one is we want to try to make profit on this event without any sponsors. So the sponsors have been really, really good. Like, couldn't do it without them. God bless them. But if you want to run a successful business, like, you have to be able to make profit without sponsors. So that is something that we're going to try to do. Now, that does mean increasing entry fee a bit, and I am very hesitant to do it, but I do also believe, like, if we're going to put in a month's work and do all this stuff and put everything together, there should be some kind of way to make profit while running a tournament. So entry fees will be, I think, $10 more expensive, but from the flip side, if we are making more money or we are doing better, like, you're going to see events run a lot smoother and more efficient too. Like, when people are paid well, good things happen. Like, and I think, like, this is actually something that's been on my mind, and I didn't plan on talking about on the podcast, but police officers I think should be paid a lot more. Like, the problem is if you don't pay police officers a lot, you don't get the best candidates for the job, and teachers too, to an extent, but especially police officers, because these guys are risking their lives, they're saving lives, and they're changing lives. And if you're going to put just some random people, some people who don't want to be there, some people who don't really care about being there, in charge, like, that's a very dangerous predicament. But if you are getting the best and the brightest, like basically like CIA, I'm not going to say CIA, FBI agents, but just like really qualified people, like basically like if, imagine you had employees from Harvard and employees from community college, not knocking people from community college, but the people from Harvard are going to do a really, really good job. Like, they spend a lot of money, they are qualified. This is actually something my friend said. He thinks that all police officers should have at least an associate's degree. Like, go to school 2 years, learn how to fight. Like, I think if you're a blue belt, that would be great for police officers, and that would make things a lot better. So by doing a better job, or if we can make more money off of tournaments, then we're going to also provide more. So I know entry fees will be a little bit higher, but we're going to do our best to improve the quality for everyone partaking. So that is the first thing, not to go on a long rant. Now, cool event that we're trying to do is we're trying to do the Georgia State Blitz Championship and a Georgia State Rapid Championship, and we're trying to run our next Scholastic tournament. Scholastic Championship. So those are going to be November 14th. So the Georgia State Blitz Championship, the format that we're looking for is 7 rounds, game 3, increment 2, double rounds, and I think it would be a great thing to do to run a Scholastic, or not a Blitz Championship. Like, I think Blitz is very popular in the state, and I think it would be very cool if we could name it the Georgia State Blitz Championship, because they don't really have a state championship for Blitz, and I definitely think that could become a thing. Now, we do have to get approval pending the name. So I reached out to someone. Always, they take their time kind of responding. Maybe a phone call is better. If I have time tomorrow, I will make the phone call. But ideally, we'll run the first and the next Georgia State Blitz Championship. I mean, second of all, like, there is no one running it right now, so there shouldn't really be. A funny thing that happens with organizers, or maybe just me, but like when I ask someone to do something, they're like, oh, they always make a big fuss and they want to do this. But if I don't say anything, nobody ever does anything. Like, no one's been running the Blitz Championship or anything. But if I ask to do it, now they're like, hey, you can't do that, something, which I think is kind of silly. It's like, well, if I didn't say, if I don't do it, or if we don't do it, no one's gonna do it. So why are these guys making a fuss about it? I don't understand. And this is not just this. This is a lot of things. Scholastic tournaments, big pandemic in Georgia. I don't understand. Things are weird. But people will be people, and all you can do is just keep doing your best. Now, another new thing that we're going to do is we're going to try to do the Georgia State Rapid Championship. So this has actually never been done before. The format we're looking at is Game 10, Increment 2. And this is actually an idea I got from Croatia. So in Croatia, they did Blitz and Rapid in the same day. Very big hit. A lot of people played. I think people did prefer the Blitz over Rapid, but there were still like 50 to 60 people playing both of these events. And Rapid Chess isn't really something that you see a lot in America, but when I played it, it's equally as fun. Like, I think it makes a lot of sense, and it's that in-between between Blitz and Quick Chess that I think, like, there is a market for. So we're going to try that. We're definitely trying new things, and we're excited to see what can go with that. Scholastic Championship, we're doing another Scholastic. Now, my idea for the Scholastics is probably the first, maybe the rest for this year, making them all unrated. Like, people, I guess, aren't ready for rated tournaments. There's confusion. They don't know what USCF rating is. There's sign up. It's a new organization. Like, a lot of these people playing these tournaments are new to chess. So we're trying to make the barriers of entry very low. And for sure, at some point, 100%, I want to make all these rated. Like, the whole idea is to get Georgia, or make Georgia great again. To make it a better state for chess. And I think to do that, you need a lot of kids to play tournaments. So right now we're just trying to get our name on the map, have people know that, hey, we run events, hey, this is what we do, and then we will start working towards getting these people ready for USCF and actual chess tournaments. So that's the idea with Scholastics. So next thing before I get into Wednesdays is our last tournament of the year. So we have October 28th EAC Halloween Championship, Georgia State Blitz and Rapid, November 14th Georgia State Blitz Rapid Scholastic, and then the big tournament at the end of the year, EAC Winter Championship 6. This is going to be pretty much the same format as the last 2-day tournament. 2-day tournament was good. I think we did a great job. It was a lot, and I think it's great that we're taking like 2 months off and doing 1-days, and then we will come back and be ready for the next big one. So eventually I think bi-monthly will be the idea. Bi-monthly we will have a big tournament, and then every month we will have a 1-day. So that is the format that we're looking at and what I think makes the most sense. Now Wednesdays. So Wednesdays is we'll be back. So we did take a couple of weeks off just to figure out, okay, what I say we figured out. I put a lot of thinking into what makes sense, and I think the big idea for Wednesdays is to make Wednesdays a social event where people want to come hang out. Now at some point, and I do think this should be a thing, making rated tournaments every Wednesday or every 1 day a week, weekly, so that people who want to gain rating, who are really big on the rating grind, will have an opportunity to gain rating. But maybe it was forced a little bit in the beginning or early on, so we got to take our time and make sure that we do it right. But so the new idea is we want to make it a social event where people can come play, enjoy, and ideally get some, I would say at least professional or serious chess in as well. And now here I think the problem is, if you have a chess club, if you just do 3 hours of let's just hang out and play chess, if you have a big group, it's great. But if you have like 6 to 8 people who come in at different times, and you have like 3 to 4 people there at different times, it's not so great. So I think scheduling things or having, this is what we're trying to do at these different times, will give people an idea of what's happening, the flow of the event. So basically 6 to 7, we're going to do free play. 7 to 8, we're going to do a practice game. So game 25, increment 5, these will not be rated. And the value that I want to add to this is I want to offer analysis to everyone that plays. So free analysis, so I will do analysis, Carter will do analysis, other people will do analysis, and we'll just go over the games. We will have score sheets, so I do want people to practice writing, getting the reps in. And then hopefully as a group, as a joint effort, we can all analyze the games so that people can learn, and it would give value. And then from 8 to 9, we're going to do a blitz tournament, game 3, increment 2, double rounds. First 2, I'm thinking would be non-rated, but these eventually I do want to get rated. And this is blitz rating, so honestly it doesn't even matter. So I know people are big on I want to protect my rating, I don't want to lose rating, but your blitz rating doesn't matter. So I think this would be a good entry point in getting people USCF rated. So first 2 probably not, but eventually weekly blitz tournaments that are rated. Entry fee, we're gonna have $10, and first place there will be a prize of $50. So 6 people play. Honestly, the margins aren't great right now, but ideally this is the plan. And the big thing is we want this to be a membership where everyone pays like $20 per week, and then we do this, something like that. Or you pay $50 a month and all of this is free, something like that. That way things pay for themselves. We can ideally, once again, make some money while we're doing it, but also, and I think it's very important, provide a service and provide a social atmosphere where people can learn and play chess and improve chess. There's a lot of casual places to play chess and hang out. This, I still want the number one thing to be like, these are where people come to practice, play, and get better. Like if you come here, like you're gonna get value and you're gonna get better. That's really what I want the takeaway to be for these. So that is the idea for the Wednesdays. So those are the event schedule and the Wednesdays. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about, get into, is now my chess training, student chess training, and then just some stuff about life. So for chess training for me, like I have been doing a lot of bullet. I've been doing my cardio plus bullet. So I do have a spreadsheet where I have all my students fill out the training they've been doing, and I also fill it out myself as well too. And numbers have been going up. Everything is above 2,600. Puzzles, blitz, bullet. Even blitz has been going really good. The new openings that I have been practicing have all been doing really well, and I think that's really good. There is a tournament in Georgia in 2 weeks. I am thinking about playing it, but I'm not 100% sure yet. And probably a big reason why is I really need to get some serious studying in. Like, bullet is great for intuition and for confidence and for feeling good, but if you just play bullet and then you go play a tournament, you're not going to believe in anything you did, because bullet is kind of fugazi. It's like, yeah, like I won this game that I shouldn't have won. Am I actually getting better? I don't know. So that is the big, if I can really put in 2 weeks of serious studying and hit the books hard, then I think that I would be ready for this tournament. And then US Masters is the real big tournament that I'm playing next. That is during Thanksgiving, and that will be a very, very big tournament, and definitely where I want to start coming back. I actually did play a tournament recently. It was on Wednesday or Tuesday. It was just a 10-minute tournament. These new promoters, I guess, in town, and tournament went pretty well. Won all the games. I mean, these guys were like anywhere between 0 to 1,600. Like, it's kind of like a street baller versus like a professional chess player. That's kind of the vibe that was happening. I mean, the games were interesting, and some of them were close, and never should have lost any. I mean, one of them I could have lost if the guy, I think, played pretty well. But at some point, he just ended up out of time, and I just survived and then won. And then when I have white, man, I'm be knocking these guys out. But with black, like, some of the games can be tough. Like, that is something that is, I would say, kind of annoying and something that I got to work on. So, and that is why studying is important. Like, I've been playing Sicilian, but not really knowing what is good and what is bad, just playing Sicilian. And sometimes it's good, but sometimes, like, if you don't know what you're doing, like, you get caught and then you get in trouble. So for chess training for me, definitely a big thing that I need to do is hit the books. But now one thing that I think I have been doing really well, or that has been really nice for me, is I've been watching a lot of chess, a lot of high-level chess. I watched the AI Cup, and I watched all the SEC Speed Chess Championship with a lot of Magnus recently. A lot of Magnus, a lot of Hikaru, a lot of MVL. Man, like, kudos to MVL. Like, MVL plays chess like a man. Like, that is what you want to. And okay, actually, I have a bunch of things to say about MVL, but like, love the way he plays. He plays Najdorf. He plays it well. He plays Grunfeld. He plays it well. He plays very active, sharp man chess. Now, something that he has been doing recently, because there's been this big like feeling that MVL has kind of been stagnant, and like, he's been obviously like top in the world, like really, really good for a very long time, but he's definitely been a step below like Magnus and even like the candidates sometimes. And what some people were saying is it's because he plays the same openings, he's too predictable. And what MVL has been doing recently is he has been branching out a little bit and playing other openings, stuff that he isn't as well known for. And he's been playing well. Like, one of the wins he got in the AI Cup, like kind of early on, was in a QGA, something that he isn't really known for. And I don't know if he got like a great position out of the opening, but just the way he plays the fighting chess, he always has a chance to win. And that is something that I think also helps when you're good at chess, of course. But watching those guys play has been really, really good. Just like the patience, the ability to just stay in the pocket and just keep fighting. And maybe that's what's helped the bullet, just not giving up and seeing all these patterns. But 100% I recommend watch more and more high-level chess, and good things will happen. So that has been something that I've been doing a lot, not with the purpose of I'm going to watch this video and get better at chess, but just because like I enjoy watching good people play, and like I think that is been very beneficial, at least result wise, bullet wise. It's been great. One of the best things I could do to improve a bullet, apparently. So now, on top of chess training, I am starting to put out a lot of content. I started a new YouTube series called Endgames and Heartbreaks. I have a lot of endgames from the summer. So every week, my goal is to put out 2 videos and 1 highlight reel. So the videos are going to be endgames and heartbreaks. So the first one I was on the good side of, like I ended up winning those endgames. But there are a lot of endgames where like I got my heart broken. And this is something that I learned. Never make fun of your opponent. Never brag about winning drawn endgames. Never, just be very humble. Because this happened to me in Serbia, where I was like, yo, I've been stealing all these kids' souls in endgames. And then like 2 rounds later, I got my soul stolen twice. So what goes around comes around. Always be nice, be respectful. Rule number 1 of Fight Club is you never talk about Fight Club. Rule number 1 of Endgames and Heartbreak is don't make fun of someone for getting the heart broken, because you're going to get your heart broken next. So one of those per week, and then 1 recap. I did the Daniel Naroditsky game. Probably this week I'll do the Costa Corley game, and then another Endgame and Heartbreak, of course. And then highlight reel. With all this blitz, so actually from now on, like I only want to play blitz if I'm going to be recording. Like I might as well be productive, and I will be more focused if I am recording. So what I'm going to try to do is, oh yeah, I actually just thought about the 2 heartbreaks that I had. Man, they were by these little kids too. It was so sad, but you'll see them for sure. But yeah, so recording the games that I play, and like trying to find some good moments, and basically put together a mixtape each week of some nice tactics, highlights, flags, whatever. So yeah, a lot of highlights that I will be doing, and I think that will be a lot of fun, but good for content, but also good for me, because now I'm actually consciously playing chess with a goal in mind, not just turning my brain off and going move, move, move. So that is my chess training. Now, one thing that I think is very interesting with making all this content and doing all this stuff is, what is the right format? Like, and basically when you make videos, you have to create a layout for the where is the board going, where is your face going, where are you writing stuff down. So I actually, to get a lot of inspiration, I watched Hikaru, I watched Naroditsky, and I watched Gotham Chess. So those 3 guys, like I watched some videos, tried to get an idea of like what camera angle are they using, where are they putting things, like what font are they using even. And I think this is something that like I kind of learned from stand-up, or like I learned from doing all these things, is like get inspiration from the people that are doing well, because clearly they know what they're doing, and then replicate it, but also like don't make sure you add your own style as well. Like don't just get lost in the sauce. So that being said, you're going to see a lot of different formats for the videos in terms of how things look. Like 1 week it's going to look like this, 1 week it's going to look like that. Eventually it should have a nice stable format where it's always going to be this or that. But yeah, in the beginning there's going to be some back and forth, and one video is going to look like this, the other video is going to look like this. So testing layouts is happening, and there is an end goal in mind. Now, YouTube versus streaming. This is something I want to talk about too. I think YouTube is way better than streaming, in my opinion. You can do it on your own time. You can kind of put together the right things. Like, that is something that I prefer. Now, do I stream? I've really been on the fence about it. I think there is some value in it. I guess if I stream and I clip from it, it's a win-win. But probably what I'm going to do is a lot of YouTube for the next 2 weeks, maybe, get in the groove of every week do this, do that, and then streaming will probably start getting built on top of that. But in my opinion, I think YouTube is a lot better, or just a lot. I enjoy doing it more. Some people prefer to talk. Some people like, would you rather be an artist, or would you rather be like an open micer? ironically, I like both of those. But yeah, some people rather make art, and some people rather explain art and do stuff like that, or put on a show like type A versus type B. So that is something that I've been thinking about. But I mean, making YouTube videos has been really good, really fun. Definitely got to work on some quality too, some just like quality checks in terms of the camera and all this stuff. But it's happening. It's happening. It's Harvest Moon season. Like, new things are happening. There's going to be growing pains. But the ship has officially left the harbor in a sense of terms or whatever. All right, so that has been my chess training. Now, chess students, I think this is also something that I'm kind of doing new. So as far as analysis go and being organized and disciplined, I think I do a really good job with my students. Like, I make sure they do write down things, make sure they practice. Now I think the next step is I need to start giving them tests and quizzes. Like, actually, like, I think the only way to really prove if you know something is if you can pass a test. And I mean, for a lot of chess players, like, passing a test is going and playing a tournament. But the problem is, some of my students, like, they are, I think, way better than their rating. They just haven't played enough tournaments. And I mean, the problem is, like, some of them just don't even have time. They just can't. They can maybe play once every 2 months, once every 3 months, but they're practicing. So testing these guys, I think, is going to be kind of like an in-between doing a tournament and learning. Like, okay, you can't actually play a tournament, but if I test you and you pass the test, at least you know this. And then that probably means you're going to be ready when you go play a tournament. So I got to make the tests and quizzes. I got to start giving out the tests and quizzes and somehow, like, converting it into a grade, or like, hey, like, this is what you need to do, some kind of feedback loop. So I think that's going to be really important for my students. Now, another thing too is giving them training positions. So, like, white to play and do this. Tempo is something that I've been thinking about a lot. Like, making them practice just moving pieces with tempo, moving and attacking, saving time. And then definitely doing some, like, endgame stuff too, just like cutting off the king, some exercises. Lichess has a lot of great exercises that you can do, like stuff with opposition, stuff with key squares and endgames. Now, something that I did do this past week that I think could be, like, I don't know about revolutionary, but like really, really good for my students, really beneficial, is if you do puzzles on Lichess, you can click on puzzle themes, filter by opening, and then select the opening that you want to do puzzles in. And since all my students, at least below 1400, are playing the Stonewall, like, they're getting the Stonewall 70% of their games. Stonewall with white and Stonewall Dutch with black. So if they dupe, and so basically they're going to do Stonewall puzzles. There's about 600 puzzles that they can do. If they finish all those puzzles, they are pretty much going to know every position that you're going to see in the Stonewall. With that in mind, like, if they can finish all these, they're going to have a really, really good idea of what to do in a whole plethora of positions. And they get really excited too. Like, once I told them about this and showed them this, they were like, yo, I should definitely do this. And now it incentivizes doing puzzles, because it's like, I'm actually going to use this at some point, like, for sure, like, this makes sense for me. So that has been another big step that I think will improve my lessons, for sure. Just filtering puzzles and doing the ones that are in openings that you actually play. And I do want my students to start reviewing their games. And so basically, some students will play like 10 to 30 games. But the problem is, like, if they play like 30 games, I'm only going to look at the most recent games from the last 2 days. But what if 18 games ago they had a question that was really important, and they were like, I don't know what to do here, like, I need to figure it out. So I think the solution there is every game they have a question on, if they analyze their games, they should put it on the spreadsheet and ask me about it. And that way, like, when we have our next lesson, there will be a list of games to go over. Now, I've had other students do this in the past, But these guys are like the ones who are really motivated and who are going to do it. I need to find a way to convince all the guys to do it, and that will be something that I have to do, but something that is definitely possible. So testing is big, training positions is good. Getting them to review their games, I think, is very, very crucial and important. And now the last thing is I do teach this one group class, and something that I think is really, really important when you teach a group kid class is you need to be very, very organized. And I teach a group of 18 kids, so when one kid goes running and then another kid goes running, so my plan for these guys this week is to run a tournament but have all the pairings out before it starts. So let's say we do a tournament and we do 6 rounds. I'm going to do the pairings for all 6 rounds, and then I'm just going to print it out and then have these guys play those rounds. So once you finish, because it's always like, they play someone and they're like, okay, now what do I do? And then they play another person and then they're like, okay, now what do I do? And then if you have like 4 kids asking you, now what do I do? Next thing you know, like, now you lost one, now you lost another, now the army is moving, like, it gets very, very hectic. So that is definitely, I think, my plan, run a tournament. I do have the puzzle sheets that I think I should do. And then also chess variants. So I'm going to have these guys, when they play someone in a tournament, they're going to do pawn wars, 3 check, then normal, and then maybe one more, maybe like take me chess. So they do 4, then they switch and play someone else. Basically, with a lot of kids and with a big group, you need to keep everyone preoccupied. So that is what I'm trying to make sure happens. Otherwise, I will be too occupied. All right, so last thing, I finished the chess students, chess training, and everything else. Last thing is life. So I actually have, I'm not gonna say a serious shoulder injury. Like, for me, worst injury of my life so far. Like, this thing is so annoying. So basically, I got this from boxing. So I did hard sparring about 2 weeks ago, and honestly, I think I punched this guy so hard so many times. He was fine. He enjoyed it. He said, good sparring, blah, blah, blah. But I punched him so many times that I tore my shoulder. And now my shoulder, like, I think the official term is it's a pinched nerve. And, like, it is, like, I'm not going to say the worst pain. It's not, like, excruciatingly painful. But it is the most annoying pain that I've ever felt. And in the beginning, it was nonstop. It was just always hurting, always, like, and you only realize how much you use your shoulder when it hurts. And you use your shoulder a lot, like a lot. Like when you're walking, like when I'm walking, my shoulder hurts. When I'm talking to people, my shoulder hurts. Like, that is very, very, extremely annoying, like all the time. Things I've learned in my quest to not have a really hurt shoulder is I did go and get a 30-minute massage, helped a little bit, relieved some pain. I did ice it, helped a little bit, temporarily removed the pain, but it come back, and sometimes it come back and be even worse, like stiff. I watched some videos and did some stretches. Like, actually, something that they said is like you lie on a tennis ball on your back and you move it around. That helped. That definitely was the most effective for a while, until I watched this one video about, it's called scraping. So basically, you take a spoon wherever it's really tight and tender. You take a spoon and you kind of like scratch up and down, and it really relieves the tension in your shoulder. So that has been my miracle cure. Like, my shoulder still hurts. Like, I literally have a spoon next to me in bed. Like, if I wake up and my shoulder's stiff, you do the little scratch, and my shoulder feels better. But that has been the best one for sure. The shoulder scraping and just like scratching your shoulder while when it's sore. But yeah, shoulder hurts. Can't run. Can't work out. I can do like 10 push-ups right now. I actually tried to do the chest exercise, like the chest flies on the machine, and I put it on like the lowest weight, and I could do that, probably not that bad. And then I put it on the second lowest weight, and then my shoulder was just like, nah, this ain't gonna happen. And I'm like, wow, this is the weakest I've been my whole life. Like, I think when I was in 5th grade, I could do more. So fortunately, I have started doing the bike the last 4 or 5 days, and cardio it's been a good way to release some tension and still work out, because I was getting hella out of shape too. And that is another thing. Like, I never really get that out of shape, and like when you can't work out, you can't do anything, and you're hurt, like you're gonna get out of shape, and that's what happened to me. But this bullet and biking has definitely helped a lot. And being hurt really does open your eyes to like remember the days when it didn't hurt. Remember the days when like I could walk normally. I could go somewhere and it wouldn't hurt. Like, that was such a good feeling. So I'm very, very excited to go back to being able to move. And over 2 weeks, it definitely has gotten better. Like, it was a lot worse, and now it is better than it was before. So that is always good. And I'm looking forward to being back. I think pinched nerve, the online website said 6 to 8 weeks. I'm on week 2. I think I can do it in 3, like, especially with the OP spoon method. Really a game changer. And now it doesn't ever hurt that bad. So crossing my fingers that by week 3 I will be back to hitting the gym. And sparring, I don't know. Sparring is going to be a sec. But everything else, like, I mean running. I really miss running. Running was one of my favorite things to do. And then working out, doing push-ups, like, that will be coming in real fast. What else in life? Just productive weekend. First weekend, like, just kind of chilled, didn't do anything. I mean, I hit 2,800 in bullet, which I don't really know if that's productive, but I think it can pass as productive. So that's good. Sober October. I know this is something that Joe Rogan does. I think I'm going to try it out this month for fun, and we'll see. And hopefully, like, I can get back to playing tournaments and getting ready to I don't know about making another run, but just start chipping away at the goals I have for chess. And then stand up. Stand up is definitely something I want to start this week. Monday, Thursday, maybe Friday. Yeah, Wednesdays are gone now. I lost my Wednesdays. Tuesday could be possible. Definitely Monday and Thursday I want to do stand-up. And I have 2 places in mind. I have a set that I have to work on a little bit. But I think, I always say this, I have some good material. So we'll see how that goes. And that's pretty much it. So bullet addiction is over. Harvest Moon has begun. Even the title is like, it's a contradiction or it's opposite, but it's also a segue, because I just finished my bullet addiction, and now I can start harvesting, making videos, training chess, reading books. That is the big thing that I will hopefully be able to talk about next podcast episode. I finished the book, I read a book, and now life is good. So that is it for episode 42, the meaning of life. Don't play bullet, start harvesting like the moon. All right. Hope you all entertained. Peace.